China has retrieved moon soil samples. They've been returned by the Chang'e-5 and they reveal the key age of moon rocks. And there's a video in the article, you can watch it, it's in color also. And samples returned by Chang'e-5 of China. A lunar probe launched by the Chinese Space Agency recently brought back the first fresh samples of rock and debris from the moon in more than 40 years. Now an international team of scientists, including an expert from Washington State in St. Louis, Washington University of St. Louis has determined the age of these moon rocks at close to 1.97 billion years old. It's a perfect sample to close a 2 billion year gap, said Brad Jolliffe, the Scott Rudolph Professor of Earth and Planetary Sciences in Art and Science. He's the director of the university's McDonald Center for Space Sciences. Jolliffe is a US-based co-author of an analysis of the new moon rocks led by the Chinese Academy of Geological Sciences, published today, October 7, in the journal Science magazine. The age determined is among the first scientific results reported from the successful Chang'e-5 mission, which was designed to collect and return to Earth rocks from some of the youngest volcanic surfaces on the moon. Of course, young is relative, Jolliffe said. All of the volcanic rocks collected by Apollo were older than 3 billion years old, and all of the young impact craters whose ages have been determined from the analysis of samples are younger than 1 billion years, so the Chang'e-5 samples fill a critical gap, he says. The gap that Jolliffe refers is important not only for studying the moon, but also for studying other rocky planets in our solar system. Please support my Patreon account since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. As a planetary body, the moon itself is about 4.5 billion years old, almost as old as our Earth. But unlike the Earth, the moon does not have the erosive or mountain building processes that tend to erase craters over the years. Scientists have taken advantage of the moon's enduring craters to develop methods of estimating the ages of different regions on its surface, based in part on how rocked the craters in the area appear to be. This study shows that the moon rocks returned by Chang'e-5 are only about 2 billion years old. Knowing the age of these rocks with certainty, scientists are now able to more accurately calibrate their important chronological tools, Jolliffe explains. He says planetary scientists know that the more craters on a surface, the older it is. The fewer craters, the younger the surface. That's a nice relative determination, Jolliffe said. But to put absolute age dates on that, one has to have samples from those surfaces. The Apollo samples gave us a number of surfaces that we were able to date and correlate with crater densities, Jolliffe said, and this cratering chronology has been extended to other planets, for example, Mercury and Mars, to say that surfaces with a certain density of craters have a certain age. In this study, we got a very precise age right around 2 billion years, plus or minus 50 million years, Jolliffe said. It's a phenomenal result. The terms of planetary time, that's a very precise determination, and that's good enough to distinguish between the different formulations of the chronology. Other interesting finds from the study relate to the composition of the basalts in the return sample and what that means for the moon's volcanic history, Jolliffe said. The results presented in the science paper, the paper Science, are just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. Jolliffe and colleagues are now sifting through the regolith samples for keys to other significant lunar science issues, such as finding bits and pieces tossed in the Chang'e-5's collection site from distant young impact craters such as Aristarchus, to possibly determine the ages of these small rocks and the nature of the materials that at those other impact sites. Jolliffe has worked with the scientists at the Sensitive High Resolution Ion Microprobe SHRIMP Center for short in Beijing that led to the study, including study co-author Dunyi Liu for over 15 years. This long-term relationship is possible through a special collaboration agreement that includes Washington University and its Department of Earth and Planetary Sciences and Shandong University in Weihai, China, with support from Washington University's McDonald Center for the Space Sciences. The lab in Beijing, where the new analyses were done, is among the best in the world, and they did a phenomenal job in characterizing and analyzing the volcanic rock samples, Jolliffe said. And he says the consortium includes members from China, Australia, the US, the UK, and Sweden. This is science done in the ideal way, an international collaboration with free sharing of data and knowledge, and all done in the most collegial way possible. This is diplomacy by science, he says. Jolliffe is a specialist in mineralogy and provided his experience and expertise for the study of the Chang'e-5 samples. His personal research background is focused on the Moon and Mars, the materials that make up their surfaces, and what they tell about the planet's history. As a member of the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter Camera science team and leader of the Washington University team in support of NASA's Apollo Next Generation Sample Analysis ANXA program, Jolliffe investigates the surface of the Moon, relating that what can be seen from orbit to what is known about the Moon through the study of lunar meteorites and Apollo samples, and now also the Chang'e-5 moon soil samples. This is from phys.org, and it's provided by Washington University in St. Louis. Journal information from Science. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support.